Welcome back to episode 14 of the Veterinary Business Video Show. This show made possible with the support of OnSwitch Limited. In today's show we'll consider recent reports in the veterinary press which take a gloomy look at the future health of small animal practice in the UK. We'll take a closer look at the services offered by OnSwitch Limited. I'll show you a nifty business tool that you can use to record which staff members are responsible for each of a long list of important management tasks in practice. And I'll let you have my quick business tip for this episode. I'm John Sheridan, and this is the show that helps practice owners, managers and clinicians just like you to build your successful practice into a great business. Recent articles in the veterinary press in the UK suggest that some practice performance indices indicate that all is not well with the health of veterinary practice. The Mercury column in the January issue of Veterinary Practice highlights the downward trend in the number of active clients per full-time vet. And Sharon Wesselby in the same issue reminds us that pet animal ownership is static and that more than 20,000 alternative outlets, compared with 4,500 veterinary practices, are all competing for the veterinary medicine business. During my professional career there have been plenty of dire warnings about the future of small animal practice, and of course we need to monitor trends, be aware of the dangers and take the necessary management steps to steer around them. Let's look more closely at just some of the numbers and consider their significance.
Since 2001 there's been a steady decline in the number of active client numbers per vet, steady decline in the number of consultations per vet full-time equivalent, number of practices has doubled over the last 10 years, the number of practicing vets has tripled over the last 30 years, and in recent years dog and cat ownership has been static. On the other hand, we don't know the number of vets employed by those 140 practices since 2001. During the last 50 years there's been a massive change from a high-volume, low-value service to low-volume, high-value service in the UK. That seems to be good news. We need to consider some optimum values for the number of active clients per vet and the number of support staff per vet full-time equivalent. We need to ask whether we're using our veterinary manpower very inefficiently, and maybe we need to compare data for some of the best veterinary businesses in the UK and North America to see what we can learn from each other. Here are some numbers I've managed to glean. If we convert UK pounds sterling to dollars, then the numbers seem to me to suggest that the revenue per day generated by vets in the United States is 43% higher than here in the UK, and that the number of transactions at the average transaction value dealt with by vets in the USA is 36% lower than here in the United Kingdom. So my question is, do the numbers suggest that vets in North America are generating more than 40% more than their colleagues this side of the pond, and that revenue is achieved as a result of handling a caseload which is 30% smaller than vets here in the UK? I really don't know the answer. I'm not suggesting that these figures are exhaustive or entirely accurate, but I do think it would make sense for the profession this side of the pond to try and find out before we get too concerned about the doom and gloom scenario which has been painted.
I guess I've always been a half glass full rather than a half glass empty sort of a person. And if I were a young vet just starting out on my career in small animal practice, I would be very optimistic about the future. I see that the Pets at Home retail chain has been sold for nearly £1 billion. That's about 155 million more than expected, and 4 times more than the present investors paid when they purchased the chain in 2004. The future for